everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. We're going to be taking a deep dive into decluttering your mind today.
Oh, this is great.
Using the book you won over, Mental Health Workbook, 4 books in one.
Yes.
We're going to be looking at CBT, mindfulness, positive psychology.
Yes.
All sorts of great stuff to help declutter your mind.
It's like giving people a mental toolkit.
Exactly.
Yeah, filled with evidence-based strategies
Okay.
to boost their well-being and get a sense of clarity.
Absolutely. And speaking of evidence-based,
Yeah?
I'm really curious about CBT.
Okay.
It's known for being faster than traditional therapy approaches.
Right.
What makes it so effective? How does it work?
So CBT is really great because it's practical, and it's all about recognizing the link between your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior.
Okay.
So imagine this. You have a big presentation coming up.
Yep.
And you start thinking, I'm going to mess this up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That thought triggers anxiety, which leads you to avoid practicing.
Totally, like a domino effect.
Exactly.
One thing leads to another.
You get into this cycle. But CBT helps you break that cycle
Okay.
by challenging those negative thoughts and replacing them with more realistic ones.
So you're basically retraining your brain to think differently.
Exactly.
Awesome.
It gives you the tools to manage your thoughts and feelings.
So instead of feeling like you're at the mercy of your thoughts and your feelings,
Right.
you're taking control.
Exactly. You are empowered.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, the workbook mentions that CBT might not be for everyone.
Right.
What are some signs that it could be a good fit for you?
It's really effective for very specific issues, like if you have a phobia or anxiety,
Okay.
or maybe you want to break a bad habit.
Yeah.
It's goal-oriented.
So if you're feeling stuck
Right.
and you want to break free from those negative patterns,
Exactly.
CBT might be a good option.
It's all about action and making positive changes.
Now let's talk about mental decluttering.
Okay?
What are some of the benefits of clearing out that mental clutter?
You can think of your mind like a computer's hard drive. If it's cluttered with unnecessary files, it slows down.
Right. It can't function efficiently.
Exactly. And mental decluttering is like hitting the reset button.
So it's about improving our mental clarity and focus.
Yes. And so much more.
Does it go beyond just feeling more organized?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The benefits are really far-reaching.
Like what?
It can reduce anxiety, improve your sleep, boost your mood.
Wow.
Yeah. And even enhance your emotional regulation skills.
It's amazing how interconnected our mental and physical well-being are.
Truly, when you clear out that mental clutter, it creates this ripple effect of positivity.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm sold.
Okay.
What are some techniques that we can start using right away to declutter our minds?
One of the techniques is journaling.
Oh,
It's a great way to identify those recurring negative thoughts.
Oh, so instead of letting those thoughts swirl around in our heads,
Right.
we're getting them out on paper.
Exactly. And once you've identified them, you can start to challenge them.
Okay.
Let's say you're constantly thinking, I'm not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
Journaling helps you see that thought
Okay.
and then ask yourself, what evidence do I have to support this thought?
I like that.
Yeah.
So it's about bringing awareness to those negative thought patterns.
Okay.
Now, what about mindfulness? I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean?
So mindfulness is all about being present in this moment
Okay.
without judgment.
Okay.
It's about noticing your thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them.
So it's about creating a space between ourselves and our thoughts.
Exactly. And the amazing thing is that studies show that mindfulness can actually change the structure of your brain.
Really?
Yeah, it can increase gray matter in areas that are associated with self-awareness, emotional regulation, and decision-making.
So by simply paying attention to the present moment,
Right.
we can rewire our brains for greater clarity and well-being.
Precisely. And the workbook offers several techniques for cultivating mindfulness, like meditation and mindful breathing.
Oh, I'm definitely going to try those out. The workbook also mentions the connection between our physical health and mental clarity.
Absolutely. That what you put into your body has a direct impact on your mind.
So it's not just about what we're thinking, but also what we're eating.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach.
What should we be eating?
The workbook emphasizes the importance of eating a balanced diet,
Okay.
rich in nutrients like B vitamins
Okay.
and omega-3 fatty acids.
And why are those important?
They're crucial for brain health and cognitive function.
So making sure we're getting those nutrients can really help.
Exactly. It's about making choices that support both your physical and mental well-being.
Now let's talk about negative thoughts.
Okay.
The workbook calls these cognitive distortions.
Yes.
Can you explain what those are? Why are they so detrimental to our mental clarity?
Think of them as mental filters that warp our perception of reality.
Okay.
They're like those funhouse mirrors
Okay.
that make you look taller or shorter than you actually are.
So they're basically irrational and negative thought patterns.
Right. And they lead to a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety.
What are some examples?
Well, there's all or nothing thinking,
Oh, yeah.
where you see things in black and white, no shades of gray.
Okay.
You might think, if I don't get this promotion, I'm a complete failure.
I do that one a lot.
Or catastrophizing,
Oh, yeah.
where you automatically assume the worst-case scenario will happen.
Right.
And the workbook emphasizes that these distortions often fuel procrastination and self-doubt.
Because we start to believe those negative thoughts.
Exactly.
So how do we combat these cognitive distortions?
Awareness is the first step.
Okay.
Once you recognize them,
Yeah.
you can start to challenge them.
Okay.
Ask yourself, is this thought really true?
Right.
What's the evidence to support this thought?
So it's about taking a step back.
Exactly.
And once you've challenged those distorted thoughts, you can start to reframe them.
Right.
So instead of thinking, I'm going to mess this up,
Right.
you might say, I'm going to do my best and learn from the experience.
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective from negative to positive.
And from self-doubt to self-compassion.
Precisely. And the more we practice challenging and reframing these cognitive distortions,
Yeah.
the more we'll start to see things in a more balanced and realistic light.
Before we wrap up this first part,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear more about the power of a positive mindset.
Okay.
Is that just wishful thinking, or is there more to it?
Research has shown that a positive mindset isn't just about feeling good.
Okay.
It can actually have a real impact on our success and well-being.
I love that.
Studies have shown that people with a positive outlook tend to be more resilient,
Okay.
more adaptable, and more successful in their personal and professional lives.
Wow.
They're better at solving problems, making decisions, and coping with stress.
So how do we cultivate this positive mindset?
Gratitude is a powerful tool.
Okay.
It's about focusing on the good things in your life.
Instead of dwelling on what you lack.
Exactly. You
Mhm.
appreciate what you have.
Okay.
The workbook suggests keeping a gratitude journal,
Okay.
where you write down things you are grateful for each day.
It's like a daily dose of positivity.
Exactly.
The more we practice gratitude,
Right.
the more we start to see the world from a place of abundance rather than scarcity.
I like that.
The workbook also highlights the power of positive affirmations.
Yes.
But do they actually work?
They can be incredibly effective,
Okay.
but it's not just about repeating empty phrases.
Right.
It's about choosing affirmations that resonate with you and repeating them with conviction.
Okay.
So instead of just saying, I am successful, you might say, I am confident in my ability to achieve my goals.
I like that. And you connect those affirmations to actions.
Don't just say it, do it.
So it's about aligning our thoughts and actions to create a positive feedback loop.
Precisely. As you practice gratitude, positive affirmations, and other positivity-boosting techniques,
Okay.
you'll start to notice a shift in your mindset.
This has been an incredible start to our deep dive.
It has, and I'm excited to share more in part 2.
We'll be back to unpack more insights from this workbook, including practical strategies for building self-confidence, managing stress, and overcoming procrastination. See you next time.
Welcome back to our deep dive on decluttering your mind.
I'm glad to be back.
Last time we talked about CBT, mindfulness,
Right.
and the power of positive thinking.
And you really laid the groundwork.
Exactly. And today I want to talk about how to build self-confidence.
Okay. Yeah, self-confidence is something that a lot of us struggle with, and it can hold us back from achieving our goals.
Yeah, I agree. The workbook actually frames self-confidence as a muscle.
Okay, a muscle.
Yeah, the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Okay, I like that.
It's not about being born confident. It's about developing it through practice and experience.
So how do we exercise that self-confidence muscle?
Well, one technique that the workbook suggests is called exposure therapy.
Okay, what is that?
It's where you gradually expose yourself to the things that make you anxious or uncomfortable.
Okay, so if you're afraid of public speaking, you might start by practicing in front of a mirror.
Right.
And then you could move on to practicing with friends and family.
Exactly.
And eventually you could work your way up to speaking in front of a larger audience.
Yeah. It's about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
Little by little.
Exactly.
That makes sense. What other strategies does the workbook recommend?
Another powerful approach is to learn from other people who are confident.
Oh, like find people you admire who exude confidence.
Exactly. Observe how they act, how they carry themselves, their body language.
Learn by their example.
Yes,
I like that. And I think it's also easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others.
that's so true. And the workbook actually talks about that.
Okay, good.
It's really easy to compare yourself to other people on social media.
Oh, yeah, where it seems like everyone's living their best life.
Right. But that's just a highlight reel.
It's not the full picture.
Exactly. So the workbook encourages us to focus on our own journeys.
And to celebrate our own unique strengths and accomplishments.
Yes, and the workbook even suggests keeping a success journal.
Okay, a success journal.
Yeah, write down your accomplishments, big and small.
Okay, so I could write down that I finished a challenging project.
Yes, or even that you went to the gym 3 times this week.
And that helps to shift our focus from external validation to internal validation.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our own worth, regardless of what other people think.
Now, I also want to talk about stress, because it's a big one.
Stress is a huge mental clutter culprit.
So what are some strategies for dealing with stress?
Well, the workbook talks about mindfulness.
Okay.
Remember those mindful breathing exercises?
Yeah, we talked about those.
They're not just for decluttering your mind.
Okay.
They're also great for calming you down when you're feeling stressed.
So when you feel yourself getting stressed, you can take a few deep breaths.
Yes. Focus on your breath going in and out.
Bring yourself back to the present moment.
Exactly. And the workbook also emphasizes the importance of exercise.
Okay. I know exercise is good for you. But how does it actually help with stress?
When you exercise, your body releases endorphins,
Okay.
which have mood-boosting effects,
Yeah.
and it also reduces cortisol.
So exercise is not just about physical fitness.
Right.
It's also about mental fitness.
Exactly.
What other stress-busting techniques are in the workbook?
It encourages us to spend time in nature.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Even a short walk in the park can have a really positive impact.
What else?
It also highlights the importance of hobbies.
Oh, yeah.
Find things you enjoy doing.
Things that bring us joy.
Yes, it takes your mind off your worries.
I like that.
It's about making time for things that nourish your soul.
Now, we've talked a lot about self-confidence, stress management,
Right.
mindfulness, but there's one obstacle that gets in the way of achieving our goals.
Procrastination.
Yes.
The workbook actually has a whole section on procrastination.
Okay.
It talks about the reasons why we procrastinate.
Is it just laziness?
Not always.
What else could it be?
Procrastination is often driven by fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment,
Oh, yeah.
even fear of the unknown.
So instead of facing our fears, we just put things off.
Exactly. And it feels good in the moment,
Right?
but in the long run, it causes more stress and anxiety.
So how do we stop procrastinating?
One of the best things you can do is break down big tasks into smaller, more manageable ones.
I've heard that one before.
It really works because when you look at the big picture, it can feel overwhelming,
Yeah.
but if you break it down into smaller chunks, it doesn't feel so bad.
That makes sense. What else?
The workbook also emphasizes setting realistic deadlines.
Okay.
Don't set yourself up for failure by setting deadlines that are too ambitious.
And that can help prevent procrastination.
Exactly. And once you've set those deadlines, you need to create a schedule
Okay.
and stick to it.
I like that.
Build structure and accountability into your day.
I definitely get more done when I have a plan for the day.
Exactly. The workbook also highlights the importance of a dedicated workspace, a place where you can work without distractions.
So turn off those phone notifications.
Yes, and close any tabs on your computer that you don't need.
Get rid of the distractions.
Right.
And lastly,
Yes.
what about rewarding ourselves for making progress?
Oh, yeah, that's important.
The workbook mentions that.
Yes, it does. When we celebrate our wins, even the small ones, it helps us stay motivated.
What kind of rewards should we give ourselves?
Anything that you enjoy?
Like what?
Maybe you watch your favorite TV show,
Okay,
or eat some chocolate,
I like that.
or plan a fun outing for the weekend.
So find things that make you feel good.
Exactly. And the workbook reminds us that overcoming procrastination is a journey.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Right. It takes time and practice.
We've covered so much in this episode.
We have.
We've talked about the power of positive thinking, self-confidence, managing stress, and procrastination.
It's been great.
In the final part,
Yes,
we're going to explore the impact our environment has on our mental well-being.
exactly. And we'll discover even more tools to help you declutter your life.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. Welcome back to the deep dive. In this final part, we're going to be exploring how our physical surroundings can impact our mental well-being.
Oh, yeah, this is interesting stuff.
I'm fascinated by this idea that our homes and workplaces can either add to our mental clutter
Yeah?
or become a source of calm and clarity.
Yeah, and the workbook really emphasizes that connection.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how your mood changes when you walk into a cluttered room
Oh, yeah, definitely.
compared to walking into a tidy and organized one?
A cluttered space just makes me feel stressed,
Right.
overwhelmed, but when I walk into a clean and organized space,
Okay.
I instantly feel calmer and more focused.
And the workbook talks about how clutter bombards our senses with visual stimuli,
Okay.
making it harder for our brains to relax.
So it's like having a bunch of tabs open in your web browser.
Yeah.
It slows everything down.
They can be really draining.
So how do we start decluttering our physical spaces?
Well, the workbook recommends asking yourself a simple question. Does this item bring me joy?
I love that.
It's about surrounding yourself with things that spark joy
Okay.
and letting go of things that don't.
So it's not just about getting rid of stuff.
Right.
It's about being more intentional about what we choose to keep in our lives.
Exactly. The workbook suggests starting small,
Okay.
maybe start with a drawer or a shelf,
Okay.
and then gradually work your way up to bigger spaces.
So don't try to declutter your entire house in one weekend.
Right.
That sounds really overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly.
The workbook also says it's important to find a place for everything.
Yeah, if everything has a home, it's easier to stay organized.
And it prevents clutter from building up.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of order and flow in your home,
Okay.
which then creates a sense of calm and clarity in your mind.
Now, what about our digital lives? I mean, we spend so much time online.
Right, emails, social media, news feeds.
It can feel like another level of clutter.
Absolutely. And the workbook dedicates a whole section to digital clutter.
Okay, good.
It's all about managing the unique challenges of our digital world.
We're constantly being bombarded with information and notifications,
Right.
which can lead to feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, it makes it hard to focus.
So how do we declutter our digital lives?
The workbook suggests setting boundaries around your tech use.
Okay.
So maybe you establish tech-free zones in your home,
Okay.
like no phones in the bedroom
Okay.
or no phones at the dinner table.
I like that. What else?
You can set specific times to check your emails and social media.
Okay.
Be more intentional about when and how you engage with technology.
So it's not about letting technology control us.
Exactly.
We're taking back control.
Yes. And the workbook also suggests unsubscribing from unnecessary emails.
Oh, yeah.
Think about all those promotional emails you get.
All the spam.
How many of them do you actually open?
Very few.
Unsubscribing can really free up your mental space.
It's like digital decluttering. We talked a lot about techniques and strategies in this deep dive.
Right.
But I'm curious to hear more about the mindset shift that's needed to really declutter our minds.
Yeah, the workbook says it's all about self-acceptance,
Okay.
recognizing your worth, flaws and all, and embracing who you are.
So it's not about trying to be perfect.
No.
It's about loving and accepting ourselves as we are.
Exactly. The workbook suggests practicing self-compassion.
Okay. What is self-compassion?
It's treating yourself with kindness and understanding.
Like you would treat a close friend.
Exactly.
We often tend to be much harder on ourselves than we are on others.
It's true. And the workbook talks about challenging that inner critic.
You know, that voice in our heads that's always putting us down.
Right. The key is to recognize that it's just a voice.
Okay.
It's not the truth.
So we don't have to listen to it.
We can choose to challenge it.
I like that.
Self-acceptance is a journey.
It's not a destination.
Right. It takes time.
The workbook talks about how self-acceptance can help us understand our purpose.
It suggests that purpose isn't something you find.
Oh,
It's something you create.
Okay.
It's about aligning your actions with your values,
Okay.
pursuing your passions, and using your skills to make a difference in the world.
So it's not about finding this preordained path.
Right?
It's about actively shaping our lives in ways that feel meaningful to us.
Exactly. The workbook encourages us to think about what lights us up and what we care about deeply. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be some big, grand thing.
Right.
It can be as simple as bringing joy to your loved ones
Okay.
or pursuing a hobby.
So it's about living a life that feels authentic and aligned with our values.
Exactly.
I love that.
So the workbook suggests identifying your skills and talents.
Okay.
Think about the things you're good at and the things you enjoy doing.
So it's about using our strengths to make a positive impact.
Yes. The workbook also encourages us to think about our values.
Okay.
What's important to you?
Guides our actions.
Exactly. It's about living a life that reflects those values.
The workbook also mentions that finding our purpose is an ongoing journey.
Yeah, it's something that can change and evolve over time.
So be open to new possibilities.
Exactly.
Okay, building on this idea of self-acceptance and purpose,
Yeah.
the workbook also talks about the importance of relationships.
Yes. Relationships are so important.
They're really the foundation of a happy life.
Absolutely. Humans are social creatures.
We need to feel connected to others.
And the workbook says This goes beyond just romantic relationships.
Okay.
It includes your friendships, your
Yeah.
family,
Yep.
your community.
So it's about nurturing all those different connections.
Yes, it's about putting down your phone,
Okay.
making eye contact,
Right.
and really listening to what other people have to say.
Be present in the moment,
The workbook also encourages us to practice empathy.
trying to see things from other people's perspective.
Exactly. And it suggests expressing appreciation,
Oh, yeah.
letting people know that you value them.
It's easy to take the people we love for granted.
That's so true.
Strong relationships take effort.
Yes, it's about being there for each other and supporting each other.
This has been such a great deep dive.
It has
Learned so much.
so many great insights from the mental health workbook.
What's one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
Remember that you have the power to create a life that's full of meaning, purpose, and joy.
It's not about waiting for happiness to come to you.
No,
It's about actively creating it.
exactly. Take ownership of your well-being.
This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.